take a moment and allow yourself to find a position that is comfortable for the body. One in which you won't have to move around in, to change. And let it be a position in which your spine is erect but not rigid. And one in which the breath can flow freely. Allow the awareness to pull inward. Draw the senses, sense of sound, sense of touch. Draw the senses inward. And allow the awareness to shift from the outer world to the inner world. Draw the awareness to your breath. Try to keep the body still. A small movement may not seem like much, but automatically the awareness goes where the body moves. So try to hold the body still without moving. And draw the awareness to the breath. And as you breathe, as that breath connects you, from the world outside to the world inside, allow that border and boundary between the inner and the outer to melt and dissolve. Breathing from the outside to the inside on the inhalations. And exhaling from the inside to the outside. on the exhalations. Until that line between them dissolves and there is no inside and there is no outside. There's only breath. Keep the awareness merged into the breath. If you find that the mind wanders, you can add a gentle mantra to it of so hum. You can chant so on the inhalations, hum on the exhalations. It means I am that. I am one with all in the universe. I am one with the Creator and one with the creation. I am that. So hum. As the awareness stays merged with the breath, as the senses are withdrawn to the inner world, allow there to be nothing but breathing. There isn't a breather. There isn't an outer from which I'm inhaling, or an outer world to which I'm exhaling. There is only the breath. And notice as that happens that the whole border and boundary between where you end and the world begins dissolves. And there becomes just a oneness of awareness, a oneness of experience, a oneness of breathing. Gently bring the palms of your hands together at chest level. Rub them gently against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly open your eyes and lower your hands. We'll begin as always with a question that's come in advance and then open it up to any question that anyone here may have. What is the difference between enlightenment and happiness? Happiness is very, very small when you are thinking about enlightenment. It's like saying, what's the difference between color and orange? Or what's the difference between color and purple, or color and red? So red or orange or purple is one type of color, one aspect that comes of color. But it's certainly not the beginning and the end of color. Happiness is one aspect that comes with enlightenment. But enlightenment is much more than just happiness. Enlightenment is truth. Now, obviously living in the truth makes us happy. But it makes us more than happy. when most of us think about happiness, we think of happiness on this very superficial level. Things go my way, I'm happy. Enlightenment takes us beneath that, higher than that, deeper and higher at the same time. It's no longer about happiness, it's about truth. Now, on the deepest level, the truth of our being is joy. But when most of us think of happiness, we think of just this temporary, like, got something I wanted, I became happy. Enjoyed pizza, I became happy. Had a nice evening, I became happy. Enlightenment is beyond that. Enlightenment is I'm no longer dictated by my happiness or my sadness. For most of us, when I'm happy, then I'm nice. Right? How many of us have family members or colleagues where you know, so-and-so's in a bad mood, don't go near. Right? Let me know when they're happy, then you approach them, right? We walk on eggshells until they're happy. We measure and monitor and plan what to say, how to say, when to say it, based on them being happy. Because we know if they're happy, they'll say yes. If they're happy, they'll answer nicely. If they're happy, they'll give me what I want. If they're not happy, if they're angry, they won't. Now, this is for most of us how our lives are. Even if when we think about that, we think of another person, chances are someone thinks about us like that. Enlightenment is truth. It's not about I'm in a good mood, therefore, sure I'll help you. I'm in a good mood, sure I'll be loving and nice to you. I'm in a good mood, sure I'll be of service. I'm in a good mood, cello, let's practice gratitude. This is how most of us get it wrong. We think first I'll become happy, I'll get what I want. If you say to most people, what's the equation? How is it going to work? Most people think first comes, I get what I want. Then I become happy. When I'm happy, then I do good things, become grateful, share with others. That's the order that most of us think this works in. But interestingly, we actually have it entirely backwards. The practice of gratitude is not something we do because we are happy. It is something we do that makes us happy. And I say this from a purely scientific standpoint. We actually have lots of studies showing that the simple act of practicing gratitude makes you happy. Similarly, service, giving. Most of us think when I have enough that I feel full and complete and happy and in abundance, then I will share. That day never comes. If that's what you're looking for, when I feel I have acquired enough, earned enough, have enough, then I will share. It will never come. As long as my sense of abundance, my sense of enoughness is coming from something outside, I could literally consume the world and I would be hungry. I could own the world and I would feel impoverished. Because that which is outside doesn't fill the holes which are inside. And so this is why, interestingly, the actual act of giving is an act that brings happiness. That act of service, even if I think I have nothing to give, even if all I can begin with is giving a smile to everyone on the street, if all I can begin with is sharing a sip of the glass of water I have, the simple act of doing that, if all I've got is a seat on a bus and I practice giving it up to someone else so I stand and they sit. Because even if you think you have nothing, chances are you have something. Even if all it is a seat on a bus. Or a glass of water. But if we practice giving, if we practice serving, if we practice gratitude, interestingly, through those practices, we develop an inner experience of fullness. In that experience of fullness, we develop happiness. In that experience of happiness, miraculously, we actually find that which we want, whether to own or to achieve, to have, suddenly we're getting it. Now, it's not about being a magnet, that somehow if I'm happy, all of the items in the department store are just going to be like magnetically attracted to me and are going to, fly out the stores of the department store and, find my house and come to me. It's not that. It's more subtle than that. As I become deeply rooted in an experience of fullness, in an experience of joy, in an experience of being in alignment with the universe, what I realize is I have what I need. My needs, my wants become much, much smaller, much simpler. They become much more in alignment with who I am, with what I already have, which is deep and important rather than superficial. So when we talk about manifesting that which you want, it's not about, as a lot of us mistakenly misunderstand, it's not about, I become enlightened, and then I open my eyes and there's this big mound of money in front of me. I become enlightened and I manifest becoming CEO of a company. It's, I become enlightened and I realize that I'm already full. I become enlightened and I realize I am one with the universe. And so whatever I have it in an experience of abundance and prosperity. I remember when I first came to India, one of the first things that hit me so deeply was the experience here of people who were impoverished. Who I could look at and say, this person is poor. Like, they don't have shoes. They live in a shack. They've got 7 people living in one room. Just objective lines of poverty. These people were below it. But there was no felt sense experience in their lives of being poor. In fact, if you ever so much as made the mistake to suggest that they were poor, they would say, no, we're not poor. See that guy, he's poor. And they'd point to somebody much worse off than they were. Whereas in the world that I came from, I knew people who had everything, but who moved through the world with such an experience of lack that their inner experience was one of lack. of emptiness, of poverty. So when we actually touch the light of enlightenment, it's no longer about what am I going to do to become happy. It's about living in the light. And yeah, of course, that makes me happy. Because suddenly there's nothing to steal my happiness. Suddenly I realize that the truth of who I am is soul, is spirit, is consciousness. Suddenly I realize the truth of who I am is joy. And if I'm not living in it, it's because I've created a block to it. That doesn't mean everything's going to go my way. Spirituality is by no means an inoculation against failure, against poverty, against illness, against loss. What it is an inoculation against identifying with the one who has lost something, who has failed, the body which is sick. It's an identification with that, which is eternal. And so, yeah, you look at nature. There's life and there's death. There's rainy seasons and dry seasons. There are seasons the trees have leaves, seasons the trees don't. Seasons of fruit, seasons without fruit. High tides and low tides. Nature has all of that. And spirituality isn't an inoculation against that. It's not start to meditate and there will never be a low tide in your life. Start to meditate, there will never be a dry season in your life. Get enlightened. And your body will never crumble and disintegrate. Nobody you love will ever die. Of course not. And if you doubt that, the scriptures have been given to us specifically and explicitly to make sure we remember that. It's amazing. You look at the stories given to us in the scriptures. So whether it's the epic of the Mahabharata, whether it's the innumerable stories within the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, whether it's the Ramayana, whatever it is, pick any story. And they are all stories of divine beings, whether sages and rishis, enlightened masters, are actually incarnations of the divine on earth. And what do their lives look like? Trouble. From the beginning, problems. Problems after problems. Violence, jealousy, competition, right? You just look at the first 6-7 years of Lord Krishna's life. Most of us have never had to gone through anything like that. Most of what most of us have had to face is very mild compared to what he went through young age. You look at Lord Ram's life. You look at later what happens in the story of the Mahabharata, even with Lord Krishna at the center of it. But the teaching is very deep, which is no matter what happens, we stay living in the light because we understand this is the cosmic play. And it doesn't mean, interestingly, it's not about being disconnected or apathetic or indifferent. It's about being deeply connected. Fully there, fully sincere, engaged in your duty. And holding the awareness. Holding the awareness. This is just a role. this particular act of this particular drama. Here I am before you. 48, female, American-born sannyasi in Rishikesh. Okay? It's the character I was given, this particular act of this particular drama, right here, this stage. Each of you has been given a different role, different costume, different lines. And we do them fully. And in the cosmic drama, like in any good drama, there's laughter, there's tears, there's death, there's birth, there's success, there's failure. There's whole plots of drama. That's why it's called the divine Leela, the divine drama. Not the divine nothing happens, put me to sleep play. The divine drama, full of all the dramatic elements, and we play it. But enlightenment is that. So let's go back. Happiness is that. In playing my role, wow, I got a great role. I'm the star of this act. I'm the hero. Everything goes my way. I get the girl. I get the knight in shining armor, whatever I get. I win. Enlightenment is the awareness as I'm playing my role, that I'm actually the actor. And I'm playing it to the very best of my ability. But I'm always aware that I'm actually the one playing the role. And so no matter what happens, I've got a good line, a bad line, a scene where I get the girl, a scene where I don't get the girl, a scene where I get Prince Charming, a scene where I don't get Prince Charming, a scene where I succeed, a scene where I fail. Regardless of what role is given to me, I understand I'm actually the actor. And I also understand that I am called upon to actually be co-creating my own drama here. The stage is set. Can't change the backdrop, can't redo the lighting or the stage. The stage is set. But I've been given this ability to co-create my own drama. It's not just about reciting the lines that someone else gave me. It's about in awareness and memory of the actor. What's the truth of both the actor and the role in this moment? What is the best way to play this role in this moment? It's not about throw off my costume and become naked on stage. Best actors in the world don't do that. So it's not about that. We're not jumping off the stage. We're not throwing off masks and costumes. We understand I have a role to play. I have a dharma. It's not about getting naked on this stage. It's about playing the role simultaneously with the awareness of the full and true nakedness of who I am within. The beautiful, exquisite, complete, divine consciousness, naked consciousness of who I am. That in a different act, on a different stage, in a different drama, was over there in your costume and mask. And in a different act and different drama and different stage was over there in your costume and mask. This particular time, I'm over here in this one. And that's what enlightenment gives us, is living in that full light. Knowing that here I am co-creating this scene of this drama to the very best of my ability. Stepping into my full role, but also simultaneously holding the full awareness that I am one with not only every other actor, but with this entire set, with the director, with the producer, with the screenwriter, with everyone involved in this drama. And I'm writing it as I'm going along. And my next scene is being written by me right here, right now. And when we touch that place of light that enlightenment is, it enables us to do that. Fully grounded in truth, fully grounded in light, fully grounded in just awareness, consciousness. Now this costume. All right. The director's having fun with me today. Now this mask, all right. But with that awareness, it's always the same me inside. All right. Now I've become the CEO. Okay. Casting director's having fun with me. All right. Now I lost my job as CEO. Now I'm the mailman. All right. Casting director's having fun with me again. Now I'm the rich one. Stock market went my way, okay. Stock market has crashed. Now I'm the poor one. All right. And how in each scene of this drama do I step into that role, co-creating the full divinity of that scene, as well as creating whatever the next scene is going to be. And yeah, of course, happiness comes along as part of the package. But it's only one of the many flavors. Before taking another of the questions that came in advance, we have time for another question, if there's one that's here, if anyone here has a question. Yes.
If you have a practice or a dharma that you feel it well, but the main guy, the main yogi makes a noise inside you, what do you feel about that?
Say that again. If you practice a dharma,
Yeah.
so you do the wrong thing.
You have a practice. No?
You practice dharma or adharma.
No, a dharma, like one practice.
Okay. You practice a dharma. Okay,
Yeah.
done.
And you like it,
Mm-hmm.
but the main guide, the main guru,
Okay.
makes you some noise inside.
Makes you some noise inside.
Yes.
Means like it doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, when he's talking about dharma, he means like a particular religious path, a spiritual path. Okay. So you're practicing one specific practice, a path, a lineage, and you like it. It feels right. But the main guy, as he says, the main guru, doesn't make you feel right inside. So if the teaching feels right, make that teaching your own, even if the one from whom you learned it doesn't feel right. You shouldn't stay, if the guru, if the guide, if the leader, if the teacher, if whoever it is that's running a path that you have found yourself in, if that doesn't feel right to you, you shouldn't be there. But a lot of times, the universe is very, very compassionate and very forgiving. And it very frequently sends perfect teachings through very imperfect vehicles. And just because the vehicle of the teaching doesn't feel perfect to you, or in your case feels actually like something that's wrong, not just isn't perfect, but actually something not right about it, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't benefit from the teachings. And so take the teachings, take the Dharma. That's yours. But that doesn't mean that you have to take them as a package. It's like, for example, if you have a math teacher in school on a much simpler level. You have a math teacher in school who may have been a horrible person. Maybe they shamed people and belittled people. Maybe they even hit people in class. God knows what they did. But for whatever reason, they had a very particular ability to help you understand long division. Maybe you never had been able to understand long division. You get in that class and boom, even though this teacher is a horrible human being, nonetheless, he or she has been able to make you understand long division. Well, that's great. Now you take that awareness of long division, you move into your next class. Doesn't mean that you have to stay with that teacher. Now, the only point, though, to be aware of with that, when we're talking about spiritual teachers, when we're talking about gurus, is the word guru literally means one who removes the darkness and brings light. Now, that sounds like something really beautiful, right? Here we are living in darkness. Here comes this being who's able to remove the darkness of our ignorance, remove the darkness of our suffering, remove that darkness we live in, of illusion, bring us light. Sounds like a win-win situation. The dilemma is, a lot of us are actually attached to our darkness in very interesting ways. You think about kids. This is my favorite way of thinking about this. So how many of you here are parents? How many of you have kids? Raise your hand. Okay, not actually that many. Raise your hand if you've ever babysat someone else's kids. A lot more of you. Good, okay. So when it's bath time, and that young child is about to get put in the bath, we have a very interesting universal phenomenon, and I've seen it in every culture that I've been part of. Rich, poor, east, west. Kids get naked. Parents take their clothes off. The kids get naked. And they then proceed to run, screaming, through the house, not getting into the bathtub. And parents proceed to run after their naked kids throughout the house, trying to convince them to get into the bath. Finally, they end up scooping them up. Now, you'd think that we were trying to stick kids into, ice cold water or something. But I'm talking about places where people have central water heaters or geysers. I mean, we're talking about putting kids in nice, warm bubble baths. But nonetheless, universally, naked kids run through houses screaming, no, when it's bath time. Now, logically, you would think these kids are dirty. They've been playing outside in the dirt. They're literally covered in dirt. Why wouldn't they say, Mom, Dad, thank you so much. That's so great. Wow, my lucky day. I'm going to get scrub-a-dub-dubbed clean. But they don't. They are, in some very interesting way, attached to that dirt on their skin. Same thing happens, interestingly, with us. You'd think that we would be so excited. Oh my God, a guru. Thank God my metaphoric dirt, my darkness, my ignorance, my illusion, my ego, thank God it's going to get cleaned. But most of us aren't. We may be in theory, but when it actually comes to that scrubbing of the ego, of the ignorance, of the illusion, a lot of us rebel. A lot of us rebel. I don't feel right. You're not the right one. You don't know what you're doing. You're this, you're that. Because it's a lot easier to judge and condemn and criticize the guru than it is to actually allow our egos and illusions and ignorance to get washed away. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that everyone claiming to be a guru is right. And so this is where it's an interesting balance that's really required of deep self-reflection. There absolutely, of course, like in every role that is played in the world, there absolutely are people there who shouldn't be there. There are people there who are not playing the role properly. There are people there who are not embodying it with integrity, with light, with truth. And of course, you don't want to stay in those situations. But you also want to be careful about that noise, as you say, inside. Is that the noise of really an incorrect guru? Or is that the noise of my ego going, no, 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 no? And that only you can answer. If it turns out that it's really not the right guru or guide, that really they are not one who is bringing light to you, then leave. But keep the teachings. Because if those teachings are working for you, they're yours. Any dharma, any good spiritual teaching is taking us into ourselves. I always say that the role of the guru is not about shining the light on the guru. The guru shines the light on you. And so if you feel that light, see that light, experience that light within yourself, that's yours. Whatever that teaching is, that truth is, that path is, that light is, if it's bringing you closer to the truth of who you are, that's yours. Whether you choose to stay with the guru, stay with that particular place or not. But do just before you decide for sure it's not the right one and for sure you're running away, ask yourself. I mean, I don't know the details of your situation or who your guru or guide is or where you're living or learning or studying, but ask yourself, is it really wrong? Or is it just rubbing my ego the wrong way? Is it shining a light on a part of me that I don't really want to see? Because of course when the light shines, it shines upon the darkness. And a lot of those parts of darkness are parts that we're really identified as. A lot of us identify as aspects of our history, aspects of what's happened to us, aspects of whatever it may be, from who we think we are, how we think we move through the world. And when light gets shown on that, a lot of times it's not always so easy to see. And so a lot of times it's a lot easier to just say, wrong path, wrong guru, wrong mantra, wrong this, I got to find another place. So let yourself really sit with it. In either case, the teachings are yours, the Dharma is yours. But see what part of you it is that isn't feeling right with that guide. And you'll know what to do. As Puja Swamiji, my guru, always says, we all have an internal GPS system that guides us. You just have to listen to it. Have faith in it. That light is within you. Follow it. You'll know.